Blessings to all of you out there. This is Quantum Reality, the True Facts, Part 2. So, in Quantum Reality Part 1, I discussed and proved through biblical texts how us Israelites, and we are descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom is from Adam and Eve, and we are descendants of them. And I proved how in creation, with the King James Version Bible, that we did not evolve from monkeys. Monkeys are a beast, and the beasts were created separately from mankind. Mankind was created from the Most High, and beast was created from its own kind. Beast was created first in creation, and then came mankind, but mankind governs the beasts of creation. So beast and man were not evolved at the same time. They did not exist at the same time. Um, when it evolves creation, the beasts of the field and the creeping things that creepeth, and the cattle, the fowl that fly in the air, and fish were created first, and they were created by the element of water. Humankind was created by the element of earth with a mist of water. With a mist of water. So that's just to reiterate what we discussed in quantum reality for part 1. Part 2, we're going to discuss um how, well, we already established how we did not evolve from monkey, but we're going to touch into subjects that mention that we were monkey, or that mention that a humankind was a monkey. We're going to touch bases on that, and the documentation that I found would be in the Quran, as far as biblical text, of where we see in biblical text where we can find and locate and discuss where that someone becoming a monkey was mentioned. So we're going to have the Quran, and we're going to have the King James Version Bible. We're going to go to um Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And it said, well, Genesis chapter 2, uh, verse 6. So it says, "But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." So as you can see, that man was created by a mist of water that entered into the earth. And in the earth, when it was mixed in the earth, when the mist of water was mixed into the earth, then the Most High God formed men. Um, if we go back to Genesis 1:26, it says, God said, "Let us make man in our image and our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish, over the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." Here you can see that the Most High doesn't mention how he created mankind in that verse. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, it doesn't really say how he created mankind, but that he created them. So we just go to chapter 2, verse 7, and it explains how humankind was created. So that is how you know that humankind and animal kind does not have the same physical makeup. The quantum reality between the animal and the humankind are not the same. The animal come from water, and the humankind come from earth, and with a mist of water to add moisture to that soil. That is how mankind was created. So that was in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. Now we go to where do this monkey concept come from? Um, like I said, I heard a guru mention it, and that guru was making a joke out of it, but in a way not to offend anyone, but still it has a basis of inhumanity to call someone a monkey. Um, so what I found in biblical texts is that if you go to the Quran in Al Baqarah, the Surah 2, Al Baqarah, it says 265 says, "And you know well those among you who transgressed in the matter of the sacred day of Sabbath. We said to them, be you like monkeys, despised and rejected." So right there we can see that this Holy Quran is saying that the holy words of the Most High was rejecting a group of people that failed to follow the Sabbath. And we can look for questions like, what is the Sabbath? Um, why would they call a human a monkey, animal? And did we evolve from monkeys? Those are the kind of questions that you would think of reading that verse. And there are other verses in the Quran that I want to go over. But those are the kind of questions that you would receive from reading that. But we already discussed that in Quantum Reality 1. We discussed how we are not monkeys. And then I just want to say how it emphasizes be like monkeys. Be you like monkeys, despised and rejected. Um, so that was the harsh way of uh punishing the ones that rejected the Sabbath. Now, us believers in it, us Israelites, and our book talks about not following the Sabbath. The ones that did not follow the Sabbath, and we are encouraged to participate in the Sabbath to make it holy. And we saw that in the beginning of creation that God rested, so that we must rest from work as well. And it's an important thing of creation that we must rest. That all creation must rest, actually. Um, so you can see that the terminology "be ye monkeys" came from the Quran. And you can see also that the Quran, the Arabs, must have had some sort of connection to the people, the group of people that were harassing the natives in the United States. They must have had some connection with those people to have taught someone to call somebody a monkey. In King James Version, it does not say to call someone a monkey. Now, there's a story in the King James Version Bible where there was a spirit being was possessing someone, and Christ removed that possessed spirit being out of the physical body of a man and placed it into a pig, and the pig ran into the ocean and killed itself. There's a story of that happening in King James Version Bible, but there's not a story of the Most High God calling humankind a animal. So, like I said, we could use that as reference as to where does this monkey theory come from, that people evolved from a monkey. The Quran does not specify that we evolved from a monkey either. It says be quotations like a monkey. And I just want to put emphasis on that. It does not, the Quran does not state that humans or the Israelites, because the Quran specifically says that they're talking to the Israelites about the history of the Muslim, of the Arabs, and uh, their history and religion is what the Quran talks about. But like, I want to get back on the subject, is that the Quran does not specifically say that us Israelites have come from, evolved from a monkey. It says that if you disregard the holy Sabbath, then be ye like monkeys. Now we go to Surah 5, El Ma'idah, and 5 verse 60. It says, say to them, shall I point out something to you much worse than this? Judging by the treatment is received from Allah. Those who receive the curse from Allah and his anger, those are the people of whom some he transformed into apes and swine, those who worshipped evil and false gods. These are much worse in rank and are far more astray from the even path. So here in this verse, you see that the Quran is saying that beings were turned into an ape or a pig, but it does not say that we were evolved from a ape or a pig or from a monkey. So we go to verse Surah 7, El Araf, and it says here, it says, ask them about the town standing close to the sea. Look, they transgressed about the Sabbath, because on the day of their Sabbath their fish did not come to them, openly holding their heads. But on that day had no Sabbath, they did not come. Thus did we make a trial for them, because they were used to transgression. And when some of them said, why do you teach to a people whom Allah will destroy or come down with a terrible punishment? Said the teachers, to fulfill our duty to your Lord, so that they may fear him. When they had rejected the warnings that were given to them, they were saved those who were prevented evil, but we came down upon the wrongdoers with a painful punishment, because they were given to transgression. Surah 7, 166 of Al Araf, it says, when in their haughtiness they exceeded all that was prevented, we said to them, you be like monkeys, disliked and rejected. So we see the term right here being called a monkey is someone is letting us know that we're disliked or rejected. And in that period of time in the United States, when people when there were races of people calling us monkeys, that was to say that we were supposed to be despised and rejected. But you can see by the teachings of the Quran, it said for those who did not follow the Sabbath. And us Israelites do follow the Sabbath. We're taught to follow the Sabbath. So they were in other words, saying that we evolved from monkeys, and we did not evolve from monkeys. That teaching of calling somebody a monkey is to say that um you evolve from monkeys. But the Quran specifically states that be ye like a monkey, be ye like a monkey. And in the Quran it's saying that God had turned people into a monkey and a swine. Not that we evolved from a monkey. So I just want to make the difference and differentiate that there is no biblical text that says that us Israelites were evolved from a monkey. It says in the Quran, be ye like monkey if you transgress the Sabbath. And transgressing the Sabbath is to not participate in the Sabbath. When God rested on the seventh day, that was our day to rest, and that is part of creation, that all creation, animal and humankind, must rest on the Sabbath. So that's what I have for the quantum reality. Are we a monkey? Where does it come from? Like I said, you can see in the Quran, it clearly says, be ye like a monkey for those who transgress the Sabbath. It does not say that we evolved from a monkey. So that is clearly an inhumane statement to say to a race of people and to constantly bash them with that terminology, and to some who could not get to the Quran. And that's why people followed people. That's why believers followed people like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. They were able to reach biblical text. So they were able to reach biblical texts so that people that were unable to read or who were illiterate were able to understand these terminologies and to understand where the basis of these come from. So don't be scared when you hear somebody say that we're monkeys. You can defeat it and refute it by the teachings that I gave you in quantum reality. I hope you like the version of this teaching, and like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And I hope to see you in another coming video.